Okay, we're recording. Welcome to the second class of Painless Music Theory for Ukes. Today is May 20th, 2024. And a couple of weeks ago, we had our first class, and I enjoyed that class, and I hope you folks did. And I hope that you got something out of it, and we will build on that today and learn some new things and do some new things. So the first thing that I want to do is see if there's any questions that any of you have from last week, either watching the video or from the class itself last week that I can answer for you. Any questions? Okay, I'm not hearing any questions, so I'll assume that there are. Okay, now, as Randy knows from previous experience, if we all try to play the ukulele on Zoom at the same time, we have absolute cacophony. So I want us to tune our ukes now with GCEA. Again, I would say recumbent, reentrant or straight tuning, both are okay, or either one is okay. Whichever one you have is fine. But I'm going to mute everybody so that we don't have the cacophony of, let's see. And I'm going to let you unmute yourselves if you've got a question as we're progressing. But you're now all muted, so let's get our tuners out and tune up. Okay. Okay, everybody, we're going to have a 3-question quiz. Question number 1. What are the 2 pairs of half-step notes in the C major scale? Write it down. That's question number 1. What are the 2 pairs of notes that are a half a step apart in the C major scale? Now, the next question may actually help you answer the first question. And that is, what is the order of whole steps and half steps in not only the C major scale, but every major scale under the sun in the world? What is the order of whole steps and half steps in the C major scale and every other major scale? Okay, and number 3, I'm going to play some half steps and whole steps for you on my uke. And I want you to tell me number from 1 to 10. I'm going to do 10 intervals. So number from 1 to 10. And I want you to tell me whether the interval I played was a whole step or a half step. Does everybody understand okay, this is number, and I will play each one 3 times. Okay, and you can't see my uke, so you can't see what I'm doing. Now, I'm going to play it. If you can't hear it, raise your hand. Okay, if you can't hear me. Okay, you ready? This is number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. Number 6. Number 7. Okay, yeah, I see some people shaking their heads. Can you hear it okay, or is that the problem? You're here. You can't hear it, Dave?
I can hear it fine, but I have no idea whether it's a half or a whole.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You've been doing this 2 weeks now, so you're not going to get it in one session. So, and we've got some things that are going to help you today. So don't worry about it. Let's see. That was number 7, was it not? Okay, number 8. Number 9. Number 10. Okay, I'm gonna unmute you all now, and so let's see. I guess I can unmute you. Let's see. I think I can unmute you. Okay, everybody unmute yourself. Okay.
I'm unmuted.
Okay, now, anybody who can answer, what are the 2 pairs of half-step notes on the C major scale?
E and C, E and F.
E and F and B and C.
B and C are
Good
correct.
job.
Okay, those are the 2. Okay.
Right.
Now, again, I'm not going to ask you what your scores were, and don't be concerned about this. But after next week, I think you'll have some tools that I'll give you today to help get better, not only at these, but even some more complicated stuff. Okay. So,
Okay.
yes, that's right. E and F and B and C. What is the order of the whole and half steps in the C major and all other major scales? Anybody can answer that from your notes last week, and that's perfectly okay if you used your
2
notes.
whole steps, a half step, then 3 whole steps, and then a half step.
Okay, that's exactly right. You all got that? Randy?
Yep.
Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, a lot of you might know this stuff already, and if so, it may be presented in a slightly new way, and I'll have some other insights and that type of thing. But and this is review, but I'm starting with somebody who I'm assuming knows nothing about music or intervals,
Right.
okay, scales or keys or
Exactly.
rhythm, or anything like that. And so, if you follow along, because I think we're still going to build for the ukulele and apply this to the ukulele. Okay, here are the intervals, and if you want to tell me your score, you're welcome to. But if you don't want to, I'm not going to make you share your score. You ready? Number 1, whole step. Number 2, half step. 3, half step. 4, whole step. 5, half step. 6, whole step. 7, whole step. 8, half step. 9, whole step. 10, whole step. Okay, if anybody wants to brag, you're welcome to.
Well, I gave up after 3 because I just was thinking I wasn't able to do it, but my first 3 were right. So maybe I should have kept doing it.
Yeah, right. Hey, listen, the best thing is if you don't have to think about it, if you can hear it and recognize it, that's great. Okay. So and so Lori, you especially do some of these exercises. I think you'll get more confidence and you'll get more practice. Anybody else want to brag?
I missed the first 3.
We should have worked together.
Did you get the rest of them? Kathy? Did you get the rest of them? Or
Yes,
oh,
I got the rest of them, but I missed the first 3.
maybe it's telepathy. Okay, I said I'm not going to ask you to share if you don't want to. So, okay, so we got our Ukes tune and we had our quiz. Okay, no, what I was going to say is that if you can hear an interval and without thinking, just like you look at a color and you can say that's red, that's yellow, without even thinking about it. Well, if you do this enough, you'll get that way with intervals. You'll be able to hear. That's a major second. That's a minor third. That's a half step. And but again, it does take some practice to get that down. It's wonderful. It really is fun. Okay, we have a little bit of old business. I realized after we finished the last class that we did all kinds of talking about the C major scale. We had the piano with the black notes, and we had the ukulele where we skipped frets in order to build the C major scale. And the notes in the C major scale, the C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, are what they refer to as the natural notes of the scale. But we didn't talk about those notes that we left out on the uke, or those black notes on the piano that we didn't play. Now, most of you probably know what those are. Those are sharps or flats. The frets that we omitted on the ukulele were the sharps and flats. And I think that I said, do you know how to take screenshots of stuff, of things that I write, diagrams and that type of thing?
Yes.
You know how to do that. Okay. That you're welcome to do that. Don't hesitate to do that. Because a lot of this stuff, if you look at it, and you can do that while the Zoom is going on, and it'll just go into your photos, and then you'll have it for later. As opposed, yes, question, Lori, you're muted. Lori, you're muted.
Are we starting on chapter 4? Or
well, sort of 4,
kind of
5, 6, but a lot of the way he presents, I like the chart he has in his book. And
no, I was just waiting until the fridge got cold.
I like the charts.
Kathy, you need to mute yourself.
Put
Kathy,
them in the.
you need to mute yourself. Thanks, honey.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Okay. What I was going to say is we're using that book sort of as a guide. I'm going to present it in a different way, and I think a better way, but he's got some very good charts in there, and he's got some things I like. So it's basically sort of a combination of like 4, 5, and 6.
Okay, good.
Let's put it this way. I read some of those chapters and I had trouble following those chapters. And I had music theory when I was in elementary school at the Institute. So I've got a lot of theory and I couldn't follow what he was saying. So don't worry about that if you don't understand it. But if you don't understand me, that I'm concerned about. Okay, sharps and flats. Now let's take a look at sharps and flats. Okay, the easiest way to see them is on the piano, and I have a picture of a piano keyboard right here. And this keyboard, fortunately, has the names of the notes and the sharps and flats. Now, we did the C scale, so we started to C. They're starting down at A, but it's still the same difference. Notice that there's a whole step between C and D, and the notes between that, the black note is a sharp or a flat. And this is the first occurrence of this in our class. And that is that a lot of things in music have more than one name. Some of them have 2 names. Some of them have 6 names. Some of them have 5 names. Some have 4 names. So it makes it interesting. But I'm gonna be using all the names interchangeably. And here's the first example. That black note between C and D has 2 names. It's a C sharp or it's a D flat. And there's a lot of factors which determine whether it's a C sharp or a D flat. And as we proceed in the class, you'll see how those things work. But just realize this is the first instance of things having 2 names. That D sharp and E flat between the D and the E, E and F, that's a half step. Okay, now he also has, Shipley has a picture of the ukulele fretboard, and I'm going to pull that up now. But unfortunately, he only gives one of the 2 black key letters on that here. Okay, you see that? The C is the open string on the ukulele. That's the 3rd string. C sharp is the note that he's got marked between the C and the D. But we saw on the piano that can be a C sharp or a D flat, and so on. So there's the frets on the ukulele, and each of those that he's got marked with a sharp or a flat can be either, for instance, in the case of E flat, D sharp or E flat. F sharp could be either F sharp or G flat, and so on. So those have got 2 names. And again, we'll see how and why they're named a little bit later in the course. Okay, but anyway, that's the magic notes. That's the lost notes between the notes of a scale. Now, okay, I'm going to stop. Okay, I want to talk about the concept of intervals. Last week, we talked about intervals. The interval in music, the definition is the space between 2 notes is called an interval. And last week, you learned that there are 2 basic musical intervals, half steps and whole steps. And combinations of those put together and taken apart and that type of thing make up melodies, make up harmonies, make up chords, all that type of thing. But if we had to sit and count all the half steps and whole steps between every interval on the piano keyboard, there's 88 keys, we would go nuts counting half steps and whole steps. So fortunately, we have another system of names for intervals. And you already know 2 of the intervals, but you don't know the second name. Let me first tell you why intervals are important to know. That's because melodies are all made up of intervals. The note stays the same, the note goes up a little, it goes up a lot, it comes down a little, it comes down a lot, but that's all that melodies are just groups of intervals between notes, right? And if you can recognize intervals, then you can recognize melodies and figure out, okay, that starts on the 3rd note of the scale. It starts on an E, it goes down a whole, but so the first thing is, if you know intervals, if you hear a song, if you know a song, you can figure out how to play that song by recognizing the intervals and analyzing the intervals. Now, it might not happen right overnight, but you can sit down with a record and say, okay, that starts on this degree of the scale, and it goes up, down, up this much and down this much and so on, and sort of write it out. And maybe later on, we'll talk a little bit about the musical clefs, but we don't need to talk about that right now. If you don't know about them, I'm not going to be heavily into those at this point, okay? Like I said, later on, when we learn some of these basics, then we'll talk about music notation and that type of thing. But now I just want you to think. So, melodies are made up of intervals. Not only are melodies made up of intervals, but chords are also made up of intervals. So a chord, what is a chord? It's 2 notes played at the same time or more. 2 or more notes played at the same time is the musical definition of a chord. Okay. So the intervals have the same names when they're in a chord as they have when they're in a melody. But in a chord, they provide harmonic motion, and in a melody, they provide melodic motion, and so on. And both of them are important. And obviously, when you're playing chords in a ukulele group, you're providing primarily rhythmic, harmonic motion, right? You're not doing a lot of, maybe you're singing with the group. Your melodic motion is from your voice, not from the ukulele. But it's the same interval in a melody as it is in a harmony. Now, let's talk about the two intervals that you already know, the half step and the whole step. The half step in music is also known as a minor second, M-I-N-O-R, minor, versus minor major, like minor E major, minor second. And by second, we're talking about second in a number series, second, third, fourth, fifth. We're not talking about a second on the watch. We're not talking about a second on a circle in a circle, degrees of a circle or something. We're talking about something of the size of a second. A minor second is a half step. A half step is a minor second. So far, okay? Just remember that. You may, is that a thumbs up, Randy? Thank you. Okay. Now, a whole step is known as a major second. So when I was playing those half steps and whole steps, what I was really doing was playing a whole bunch of minor seconds and major seconds. And actually, there you go. Is any of you a trumpet player? None of you play. Good. I'm glad none of you play trumpet. Because there's the joke is, do you know what they call two trumpets playing in unison? A minor second. That's a little okay, musical joke. Sorry about that. Okay, major second and minor second. Okay, let's take a look at the keyboard now, and let's just take a quick look. And you're not going to be surprised that the major seconds are in the same place as the whole steps in the scale, major scale. And as a matter of fact, I don't have to go over that again, do I? The half steps, the minor seconds are in the same place as the half steps in the scale. Those are synonymous. That's two names for the same thing. Okay. I want to give you one more set of definitions, and this one I'm going to do diagrams for. A major third consists of two whole steps. A major third consists of two whole steps. Now, let's see your math acuity here. How many half steps would be in a major third if there were two whole steps? Okay. Randy, are you saying 6? I'm saying if they're in a major third, I said that's a major third is defined by two whole steps. So how many half steps are in a whole step? 2. Correct? 2 half steps are in a whole step, right? Okay, so if there are 2 whole steps in a major third, how many half steps? 4, correct. Okay, everybody got that?
Okay.
Okay, now, a minor third is 1 half step smaller than a major third. So if there are 4 whole steps in a major third, and a minor third is 1 half step lower, how many half steps are there? Okay, Lori is saying 3. Is everybody else getting 3? I hope so. Okay.
No, I'm
Everybody-
missing it.
Dave?
Okay,
Okay.
well, I'll go along.
Oh, okay. Well, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this on the piano. And again, the piano is so logically laid out and so easy to see. That's why I want to use that. Just skipping frets, the frets all look the same on a ukulele, unless they're dots, and you sometimes. But on a piano, you really have the black notes and the white notes, and you can see things very easily. So I like to use the piano just to illustrate these things. So let's take a look at that piano again. Okay. Now, this note is C. Here, I've got to get my pencil going. Okay, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, obviously, a major second between C and D is a major second because there's a note in the middle. It's a whole step. It's a major second. E and F are a minor second. They're right next to each other. There's no note in the middle. So that's a minor second. Are we good? We're good about that, right? Are we okay with that? Okay. I can't see you
Minors.
all. So, oh, say again. Dave, did you say something?
No.
Okay. If folks, I can't see all of you now. So if you unmute yourself, if you have a question or a comment or something like that, because I can't see you if you raise your hand. But if I don't hear you interrupt me, please feel free to. Don't worry about it. Okay. But I don't. Does anybody need to spend time on major or minor seconds in the C major scale here? Are we pretty good with that? Okay, nobody is saying that he or she does. So let's go to thirds. C. Now, when you're counting intervals, the way that you count them is the first note of the interval, regardless of whether it's going up, you count that as 1. So if we're talking about the interval between C and E, the C would be 1, the D would be 2, and the E would be 3. And so that would be a third. Okay, you see how we count intervals? We count the first note in an interval. So C, D, E. Now, how many, is there a question there? Okay, so
I think maybe Dave needs to mute.
I don't know. Oh, here we got. Somebody just entered the waiting room, but I'm sharing the screen now, so I hate to stop this because I'm going to lose this. Well, I want to let her in. Okay, so I'll get back to this. Okay, we're going to share the screen now and get on the piano keyboard. Okay, actually, I'm gonna use this. This might be a little bit easier. We don't even need the keyboard because we know that we start. Oh, let me get my pen working. We start, then we have a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, and we can continue whole step, half step. Okay, so if we want to go from C to E, that interval between those two notes is a third. C is note number 1, D is note number 2, and E is note number 3. You see that? Now the question is that a major third or is that a minor third? Notice there's 2 whole steps in there, 4 half steps. So 2 whole steps make up a major third, as we said, correct? Okay, we good with that? again, if you got a question, let me know because I can't see you. So that's a major third between C and E. Now let's take a look at the interval between D and F. Okay, so D would be note number 1, E would be note number 2, F would be note number 3. That is also a third. Now, is that a major third or a minor third? Notice there's a whole step and a half step there. So there are only 3 half steps in that one. That's the smaller unit, is it not? You see how that works? So between D and F, that's a minor third.
I don't get that, because if between D and E is a whole,
Correct.
oh, and E and F is a half.
Right. 3
Okay,
half.
I was thinking that I was thinking that W between C and D was what we were looking at. Okay, I get it now. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. I've got those interval. That W there is kind of messy.
I got it. I get it now.
Okay. But I just want to make that a little bit better. Well, okay. So, and what you can do is analyze the whole major scale and find out which intervals are major intervals and minor intervals in the major scale. You do it the same way. If you want to go from E to G, then I'll erase this. And so E would be note 1, here, note 1, note 2, and note 3. And okay, between E and F, half step. Between F and G is a whole step. So that's 3 half steps. Therefore, a minor third. Okay, got that? Now, I'm going to make your lives a little simpler now, because I'm going to show you a chart with the whole C major scale and where which are the major chords and which are the minor chords, or the minor thirds and major thirds. And here it is. Typically in music, if you're talking about a major scale, a major chord, something major, they just give you the letter name of that. They don't say an M or a big M or little m or that type of thing. Sometimes when you write, if you're referring to a major, you make a capital M for major and a lowercase m for minor. But typically in music, if it says C, that means C major. So here are the thirds, the quality of the thirds in the key of C. The C chord, the third starting on C is a major third. The third starting on D going up to F is a minor third. The one starting on E is a minor third. And F, major third, G, major third, A, minor chord, minor third, and B, minor third. So you got the chart right there, and you're welcome to take a screenshot of that if you want. But I'd like you to be able to figure that out, because you might not have your chart with you. And so when you're in a gig and you're playing chords and you're improvising because you don't know the music, but you can figure out what the music is because it's a nice bluegrass tune with a simple harmonic progression, then you can know if it's a D chord in that song, it's probably going to be a minor chord. So that's where this is helpful. But anyway, I'll give these to you. Okay. Any questions so far about analyzing a scale and the C scale in particular here for which are major thirds and which are minor thirds? Are we good? I wonder, Barbara joined us, but I don't see her. Okay. Now, this class is music theory. When you think of a theory, you like the theory of gravity, the theory of evolution, the theory. So theories are a lot of times written stuff and discussions and lectures and classes and that type of thing. But there isn't anything that you can really get your teeth in with respect to a theory, correct? Okay. We've been talking about music theory here, but we haven't done an awful lot with respect to music. with respect to how this theory applies to the actual music. And so what I want to do is demonstrate for you what these intervals sound like, okay? So we said a major third is 2 whole steps. Between C and E is a major third. So here's C, D, E. That's C and that's E that I'm playing there. Okay, and we said a minor third is smaller, and typically, not typically, all the time, if there are 2 chords with respect to an interval, whatever they are, the minor of that chord of that interval is smaller than the major by a half step. That happens all the way up and down the scale, even if you're talking about 11ths, 13ths, that type of thing. If it's a minor 13th or a major 13th, you see, there's a half step difference between those two. So C, D, E. Now, we said that the minor third is a half step smaller. So we go C, D, E flat. So that's a minor third. The major third is C to E. The minor third is C to E flat. Okay, you hear the difference between those two? Okay. And again, we can do that analysis that we did on with the piano on the ukulele. Here's a D right here. There's an F, D to F. So look at the frets here. Here's D. There's 1 half step, 2 half steps, 3 half steps to get to the F. D to F, 3 half steps. A minor third. Okay, got that?
I can't hear you when you're playing, Alan, at all. I must have something setting wrong on my computer.
You don't hear me playing this?
No, I don't hear it at all. So
Are you hearing me speak, Dave?
No, I hear you talking, but I don't hear you playing the ukulele. Is anybody else having that problem?
No, I can hear.
No?
Okay. There is, it may be, there's an original sound, Dave, setting in Zoom. Are you familiar with that original sound?
Well, I'm afraid I don't want to waste your time here. I'm ignorant. This is the second time I've ever been on Zoom, so I don't know all the settings and all the rest of it that goes with it. So go ahead with the class, and I'll try and catch up when I watch it again on YouTube.
Well, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it on YouTube if you can't hear it on, but maybe you'll be. Were you able to hear my playing? Did you watch the video?
No, I can't hear you playing at all. I can hear you speaking,
I
but
know,
I can't hear you playing.
Did you watch the video last week?
No, I did not repeat it, but I couldn't hear you last week either, as far as your playing of the ukulele.
But the question is, if you play the video, will you hear the ukulele on the video when you're not hearing it? You may not be able to, but why don't you find that out?
Okay.
Okay. So, well, let's put it this way. I don't know what to tell you. And I guess, okay, I think we lost Dave. Okay, so there is the minor third. Now, so you hear what those sound like, the minor third is a little sadder sound. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Randy, I think you've got it. Okay, do you have that now as far as at least the theory is concerned? Okay, and we'll do a little bit more practical stuff and do some more listening to those intervals. But now the last thing that I want to talk about is when you play the same note twice, and that's called a unison. So if you think about the song "Mary Had a Little Lamb," Mary had a little lamb. Those three repetitions or two repetitions of that E in Mary Had a Little Lamb are unisons. So it starts on E, goes down a whole step to D, goes down another whole step to C, back up a whole step to D, and then back up a whole step to E, and then two unison E's. Okay, so that's a unison. Okay. So right now, you know three intervals. You know unisons, seconds, and thirds. And that's what we're going to work with today. And I'm going to give you some apps to practice these and learn to recognize them. And I'll also demonstrate GarageBand so that you can play these yourself, but you can play them yourself on the ukulele too. But again, sometimes it's a little easier to see on GarageBand. And I repeat, if anybody doesn't know the keyboard, the piano, where C is and D and so on the piano keyboard, I can give you an easy way to learn that at the end of the lesson today. Okay, so I want to show you those two things. I want to show you GarageBand and how you can use GarageBand to practice different intervals. So I'm going to open it up now. And once again, I'm not going to be able to see you. So in order for me to know whether you have a question, you're going to have to unmute yourself and tell me that you have a question. So I'm going to question. Okay. Now, unfortunately, the two apps that I'm going to use now obviously are both audio apps. GarageBand makes music, and the other app is also an audio app of playing intervals. Well, I can't do a share screen on those two apps because Zoom can only do one audio app at a time. So you can see what I'm playing, but you wouldn't be able to hear what I'm playing if you're hearing me on Zoom. So what I have to do is turn my camera up and take a screenshot, but turn my camera around so that you can see my iPad, and I'll show you how to open up and to play the piano on GarageBand. Okay, so I'm going to stop my video temporarily while I change the position of my iPad. But you can still hear me, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, we're getting close, so thank you for your patience. And I'll have to get this centered. Okay, so now let's see. I'll start the video. Okay. Okay, so can you see my iPad right there, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you open GarageBand and Dave, you can, if you're interested in following up with this, you can download GarageBand for non-Apple products, and I can give you links and that type of thing. So let's see if you're going to continue with this, and if so, you and I can get on just the two of us, and I'll walk you through it. But anyway, to get to the piano keyboard in GarageBand, you see that plus sign right there? Up there. These are songs that have already been recorded or that you're working on or that type of thing. But you hit the plus sign like that, and what you get is the whole GarageBand panoply of different sounds, different instruments, and different things you can do. So you can do guitar stuff, you can do bass violin stuff or bass guitar, you can do strings. you can just record. So in other words, if you're doing your uke stuff and you want to add some of these effects to it, you can record yourself on the uke and then add the other parts from GarageBand. Here's different kinds of amplifiers for electric guitars, drums, and voila, here's the piano. So let's tap on piano and we'll open the piano. Okay, do you see the piano keyboard there? Okay, and look at this. Can you hear that? Is that loud enough? I think I can make it a little louder. Right now, our clock is chiming. I think I can make this louder. Can you hear that?
Yes.
Okay. Do all of you hear that? Okay. Now, the thing is that this only has a small keyboard. Notice it goes from, actually, let's go to middle C. Okay, it goes from middle C up to high C and then up to about G there. But if you want to play more keys, you see this little keyboard right there? You can touch that keyboard and you have different, here, you've got more keys, but they're smaller. You see? And if you want to do like an organ with multiple manuals, you've got two keyboards there. And so you go all the way from down up there to all the way up there. So you get twice as much, but we don't need anything that big. So I'm going to go to one keyboard and let's see, to this keyboard. Okay. Now, you can play and listen to thirds right here. That's a major third. Minor third. You see? Because of the analysis we did with counting the half steps between the notes. Okay. Major third. Major third. That's three half steps, minor third. Okay. See what we're doing there? Okay. Is somebody talking in the background? I'm hearing some. Okay. Now, the thing is, you're just playing on the white keys, but you can use the same principle on the black keys. Now watch. If you, let's say this is note number 1. Okay, there. From that note, that black note, which would be, well, a D sharp, that's 1, 2, 3 half steps between D sharp and F sharp. You see that? So listen to that. You see, that's a minor third, 3 half steps. Okay, let's go from F sharp to A sharp. So let's count. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps. What would we expect that to sound like? A major third. You see? So you can play around with these things because you know minor second, major second, and so you can listen to them, major third and minor third. And so you can play them and listen to them, okay? And I want you to do that. But the last thing I want to show you today is, you might say, okay, I can listen to these, but I can't really recognize them when somebody else plays them. Well, I'm going to show you an app that will allow you to test yourself and to make your own review of these intervals, and you set up the quiz how you want it, okay? So why don't you get out a pencil and paper, because you're going to want to write some of this stuff down. The first thing is the name of the app. Well, there's somebody talking. Can you guys all mute? I'm going to mute you all because I'm hearing. Okay. So if you want to talk, you'll have to unmute yourself. I don't know where the sound is coming from, but that took care of it. Okay, so what I'm doing, I've got Safari here, but whatever browser you can use. So open your Safari. Now, the name of this app is very simply musictheory.net. The word music, lowercase, the word theory, all run together, .net. Got that down? Okay, now, I don't know, can you read that up there? That's this app right here, correct? Okay. Now, notice you got three choices here. You can buy this app, and if you buy this app, it's got all kinds of fancy bells and whistles and that type of thing, but you don't really need it for our purposes. Everything that you'll use is free on this app. So what you want to do, see use web version at the bottom there. Can you read that? Use web version. Tap that. Okay, you good? Okay, now look what you got here. Unison, minor second, major second, minor third, major third, perfect fourth, tritone, major sixth, minor, you got all that. You don't know all those things. You can't use them. It would be a waste of your time to try to do something with this, because maybe a third of the things would be things that you could even be expected to recognize. So what do we do? Well, let's see. Okay, let me go back. When you get into this app, you'll see this whole list of all the things this app does. And it does tons of stuff. You want to go down to the bottom of this list, the part labeled ear training. That may be too far away to read. Can you read that, ear training? You see that there on the app, ear training?
Yes.
Can you? Okay, good. Thank you. Now, what you want is interval ear training. We're talking about intervals, and that's what you want. So you want ear training, you want interval ear training. Now, and again, use web version when that comes up. Okay, but you see what you got there? Again, you got all these intervals that you don't have any idea about, and you don't want to waste your time with that. So you can customize this to your level of interest and ability, and make it as hard or difficult as you want. So watch. See this right here, that cog? That's the settings. Tap that. You see that word intervals up there? There's 13 intervals. That's all the intervals in the scale. So you don't want all 13, so tap that. Notice all those intervals are listed here, and every one of them has a check mark. So if you want to test yourself with unisons, minor seconds, and major seconds, can you read that up there? Unison, major second, and minor second. All you do is tap all the rest of them, and you'll turn them off. Okay, so when you go there, what do you have? Minor second, major second, and unison. That's your test right there. So that's all you know, or maybe that's all. You also know major and minor thirds. You may want to test yourself on all those intervals at once, but maybe you want to start with major and minor seconds, and get that down, and then to practice major and minor thirds, and then get that down, and then put them together and get that down. And you can do it as much as you want or as little as you want, and you can go as far with this as possible. So now let me show you other alternatives. We go back to this play mode, ascending. What that means is the interval is going up, but you can also, you see the notes going up there, and that's check mark. If you want both the intervals going up and going down, then you would press this one here. I suggest you start only with the ascending, okay? And then get that down, and then you can try the intervals going down. It's the same, but it's just going down instead of going up, and that's a little harder sometimes. But we can, if you want to try that, you can. But as far as I'm concerned, if you recognize them going up, so okay, so that's that alternative there. So we'll have them going up now. Slower. They have all kinds of speeds of this test, with the things coming fast or slow. I've got the slowest setting, and I like that slow setting because I like to think about them. and try not to make any mistakes. So, but if you're getting fast and good, you can make it faster for yourself. Okay. So speed. Now, instrument, modern piano, this right here, this range, that's a good range, C3 to C5. That's like middle C generally. So that's a good range. Range for both notes. Now, next question immediately. This is one that I think you'll also want to change. You got three alternatives. If you have immediately, as soon as you get the previous question right, it'll give you the next question. Well, you might want to think a little bit and, relax a little bit and sort of get your thoughts together. And maybe you want to replay the one that you just got right or wrong to try and so my suggestion is, if it says immediately, go to wait like that, because that way what you do is tap on your screen after you've gotten the right answer. You tap on your screen and it'll go to the next one and play that. Okay, so that's all your alternatives there. You see, challenge mode, you don't want that. So wait, and that. Okay, you got that. Now let's see how this works. Okay, that's your first one right there. Now, I assume you all know what that is, right? Is it a minor second, a major second, or the same note, a unison? What would you say? Do you want to hear it again? If you want to hear it again, just touch that and it'll play it again for you until the cows come home. You'll keep playing unison. Okay, so we'll press unison. Green. Now, since we got the right answer, we're ready to go on to the next one. So I'll tap it. That's the next one. That's not a unison, is it? So it's either a minor second or a major second. You got a 50-50 chance. So you want to play it again? Okay. Anybody want to venture not a guess, but you think you can figure out what that is? A minor second or a major second? Here.
That's a minor second.
Correct. Okay, so let's go to the next one. And okay, now, Dave, did you hear that? Or can you not hear that either? You're muted, Dave. Dave, you're muted. Unmute yourself. Did you hear
No,
that?
I can't hear anything that you're playing there on your iPad. So
okay.
just go along and I'll watch and see what you're doing.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I really am. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so now here, let's play that again. So what's the correct answer there?
That's a major second.
I agree, but let's say you do the wrong thing. Red. Okay, so you don't have it correct yet. So now with this, it's is by the process of elimination. Okay, so let's just try unison. That's not right either. So it's not moving to the next one. Maybe you can't play it. There we go. Yeah, you can play it again. Oops. Well, I'm not happy about that. I lost my. Here we go. Here we go. There's the bar up there. Okay. So major second. Okay. Now, if I want to add the major thirds, I can add that right now by just check marking the minor third and the major third. And voila, there they are. You see, unison, minor second, major. So it'll mix those up right now. So. What does that sound like? Okay, that's a major third. A bass unison, and so on. Okay, so not only can you get the GarageBand and play these, or play these on your ukulele, because you know how to make half steps and whole steps and how to skip them. And you can, and so with the GarageBand, you're not limited to just the white keys. You can use the black keys and just count half steps and whole steps, and get in your mind the distinction between major and minor thirds, major and minor seconds, unisons. And if you can get comfortable and familiar with those and use this app, okay, you see how this app can be helpful as far as training you to recognize these things and to do it easily and speedily. Okay. Then we'll have another class, I assume, in 2 weeks. I don't know what 2 weeks is. Let me see. Here. Okay. Well, unless you
Okay.
heard concentrate. What's the date, Dave?
No, I'm just, go ahead, finish up what you want to do.
Okay.
Like I say, I can't hear anything
Okay.
that
So
you're playing.
27, it looks like June 3rd would be our next class. Let me see if there's anything on June 3rd. No, I'm good on June 3rd. So let's plan on the next class on June 3rd. Okay, Dave, in the next 2 weeks, listen to the video and see if you can hear the stuff that the verbal stuff that we're doing on the video.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's on YouTube.
What's
That's
that?
on YouTube, right?
Yeah. Well, if you go to Facebook, if you go to the Bucks members Facebook, there's a link to it there. But if you can't,
Okay.
Dave, do you have my email?
I don't think so.
If you still have the original promotion for this class, you have it.
Okay, it must be in there. That's someplace.
Okay, because you can
Okay.
email me and tell me what the results are of your attempts. And I'm sorry that you
Okay.
can't. I'd love to have you, because I think you would enjoy this. Okay, folks. Well, thank you for joining us. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Good
Thanks,
seeing you.
Allan.
Okay,
Yeah, Dave.
thank you,
Anybody else?
Alan.
Oh, I guess everybody else is bagged out. Okay, we'll see you later. Bye now.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.